Good morning, everyone. Can I hear some claps and shouts from our participants? Naku, parang mahina yung energy nila ngayon.
Yes!
Once
Okay.
again, can I hear that clapping and shouting from our participants? Thank you very much. No? Be without of that electrifying energy as we welcome our youth forum for today. Ladies, I'm very the feeling is very awesome today kasi we are in this kind of privilege that we are not just only convening the children, but also we are here to have an organization and see the table with different people and different aspects of their country, right, Vika?
Yeah, that is very right. No, grabe, very talkative yung mga co-host ko today. Grabe, nakaka-pressure talaga sila. Okay, let us introduce ourselves, diba? Sino ba yung mga nagkagandahan? And syempre yung very handsome natin na co-host.
Well, if I would say that a thing. Anyway, hello everyone, this is Jed. You can call me Jed, your dedicated youth advisor from Taguig City.
Yes, grabe ang energy talaga, no? And syempre, I am from Taguig City, your young Asia's mechanico. I am Nika from Taguig City. Syempre naman, the last but not the least, I am your Frenny from Cebu City. I am Chloe, your one of the hosts for today.
Thank you so much. These beautiful two ladies beside me are not just a reflection or the outcome of the Project Connect, but at the same time, these youth advisors are behind me and fighting and eradicating child trafficking, which is our purpose today. Kung bakit tayo nandito is because we want to be the backbone of Terdezoms Netherlands for us to fight and eradicate child trafficking. Kasi di ba, ladies, gusto natin ma-achieve yung goal natin that our vision of our children flourishing, that free from all forms of discrimination and exploitation, right, Nika?
Yes, that is very right, Jen.
So, on this case, we want to know and we want to introduce to you the partner and the supervision of this project, which is the Terdezoms Netherlands. So, to start things off, just a bit about Terdezoms Netherlands. No, these organization, international non-government organization, we are dedicated to preventing child trafficking. And there is a lot of chapter, right, Lloyd? Kaya what we do here is that we in the Philippines, we use that kind of evidence-based study. Katulad ng isang study na i-disclose natin later on sa ating mga participants to prevent child exploitation, remove children from harmful situation, and especially to ensure their safe development. Right, Nika?
Yes, that is very right, Jed. At talaga namang sa mga sneak peek pa lang, talagang nakaka-excite na kasi this study will of course help us to, to determine data and to also help us on how we're going to address such situations. And also, of course, aside from Terdezoms Netherlands, they also lead the Project Connect, which means creating a safer online environment for every child. It is an initiative to enhance online safety for children, specifically or especially sa mga girls natin, and of course the LGBTI children, yung mga at risk of the OSAEC or online sexual abuse and exploitations of children.
Okay, so we have two terms na binanggit, or we have two jargons na binanggit kanina, which is yung connect
And
OSAEC.
OSAEC.
So I want everybody to take note of that. What is connect and what is OSAEC, right?
Yes, just like what they said, we will be tackling about how girls and LGBTI are at risk online. And in line with this ongoing advocacy, we are now in youth-led forum that is part of the hashtag Let Children Be Children campaign. The exciting part is we will launch the study like what Jen said, and you guys must stay tuned and learn from our panelists during our discussions.
And since the project is advocating for inclusivity, dapat included din yung ating mga participants in this forum. And as much as we want everybody to be participative as much as possible in this cause. Kaya naman, every time that we tell you, let children, ang i-response nyo po sa amin ay be children. Once again, let children
Be children!
Once again, much louder. Let children
Be children!
Very good.
Grabe nakita mo talaga yung Yeah, okay. Grabe nakita mo talaga yung energy talaga, yung eagerness nandun, yeah. And yun, at the event here today, of Of course, you'll gain valuable insights in today's happening, especially to all girls and of course the LGBTI children. Once again, we thank everyone for taking their time para pumunta dito to discuss an important advocacy, and it is gonna be a milestone for us
Yeah, and
all.
also we would like to thank Terdes Homes Netherlands for this
Syempre
opportunity.
naman,
Very generous, and yung gratitude natin, it's overflowing for them because of this kinds of opportunity that is not just given to our co-youth or co-children, but at the same time, yung advocacy ng iba't ibang mga youth organization around the country was able to spread.
Yeah.
Diba? And our purpose of Let Children Be Children is not just a slogan, it's not just an advocacy, but it should be a movement after this cause, right?
That's right, Jen. Now, to welcome us and share more overview about today's event, it is my pleasure to introduce Uriel for her opening remarks. A round of applause, please.
Once again, let's welcome on stage Uriel.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning!
Happy Pride. So, hello, I'm Muriel. I'm a youth advisor for Project Connect and a proud member of peer support group from the Lisu Foundation Center in Cebu City. So, it is with deep gratitude and respect that I welcome you all to our voices, our pride, our safety, a youth-led dialogue on online safety for Filipino girls and LGBTI children. Today's gathering is more than just a conversation. It is a bridge between young people and the institutions that serve them. Between intention and impact, between what is and what could be, we come together not only to raise our voices, but to open our hearts and minds. Especially those in positions of power, our government leaders, policymakers, partner organizations, educators, parents, and child rights advocates. This is a moment to connect, not just with words, but with purpose, to empower all children, especially girls and LGBTI children, who remain at high risk of discrimination, isolation, and online sexual abuse and exploitation of children, or OSAEB. We hope this conversation helps us all, especially parents and adults, learn to listen without judgment and to join us in our call. Let children be children. Let children be children in their everyday life, and also, most especially, online. As we reflect on the findings of the Rainbows in the Dark study, may we open our eyes to many rainbows in our communities who continue to live in shadows, unseen, unheard, and unsafe. To our esteemed guests, parents, guardians, thank you for being here. Your presence affirms that our issues matter, that protecting and uplifting young people is a shared responsibility. Let this space be more than just a dialogue. Let it be a shared commitment. A moment where the lived realities of girls and LGBTQI children are responded to, heard, affirmed with real action. Today, we're not here to talk about the challenges we faced. Not just that. From education and mental health to protection and participation, we are here to share our ideas, our calls, our hopes. We don't ask to be saved. We ask to be heard, understood, and involved every step of the way. We also hope this becomes a safe and brave space where you see us not just as beneficiaries of programs, but as active partners in shaping them. Let this be the beginning of something great, or the continuation of sincere collaboration, where words lead to action and action leads lasting change for every Filipino child. In all their diversity, welcome once again to our voices, our pride, our safety. Have a good morning, Lina.
Once again, Uriel from Youth Advisory Group. Thank you very much, Uriel, for that very fruitful and very insightful message, right, Lloyd?
Talagang very nakaka-emotion captivated talaga ako. Eh. Parang mararamdaman mo yung emotion is there, yung aggressiveness is there, pero also at the same time, yung message is also there.
Speaking of message, Chloe, ano ba yung mga pwede natin makuha from Uriel's message? Kasi I feel like Uriel from Cebu, right? So, how was working with Uriel so far?
For your first question, like I really agree with what Uriel said though. Like we really appreciate your presence here today because it really means to us. Because as part of the youth and also to some of our participants here, part of LGBTQI, we are grateful to be heard about our issues and our concerns in our safety, especially in our online environment.
Yeah, so you've mentioned about online, right, Nika? Kasi gusto natin i-promote yung online safety.
Yes.
What TDH Netherlands is going to promote in this project and to our, i-disclose natin the study later on. So ikaw, Nika, in your perspective, what is your, what captivates you of moving forward in this campaign?
For me, it really nagka-captivate talaga sa akin is of course our core. Kasi the advocacy is there. Talagang we know that there is a problem, there is a possible solution, and there should be an action. Talagang, ito yung nagbibigay sa akin ng eagerness. Siyempre tayo, di ba, talagang minsan, kahit hindi tayo early morning person, may mga instances talaga na pang umaga yung mga gising natin. At talagang, pagising ko sa umaga, alam ko na magiging worth it to eh. Kasi, it is for the children and for the LGBTI community children, di ba? Talagang, may purpose yung pinunta natin dito. And syempre, gusto nating mas palawakin and also mas solidify yun. Yung talaga yun.
That's right, Nika.
So technically, we are not just here to inform our participants or our audiences on what our cause, right? But we are here as well to let them have that call of action, to do something, and not just to provide something, but at the same time, to start something in terms of eradicating child trafficking. Kaya naman, hindi na natin ito papatagalin, Nika.
Yes? Alright, since I know that most of you are really excited to know the study that we will be launching for today.
Yes, I'm also excited to what will happen next. Are you excited, guys, or are you even curious to ano ang gagawin natin next? Yes! That's right. But before that, before everything else, let's witness first a one-of-a-kind performance from our very own Youth Advisory Group.
Handa na ba kayo mapanood ang kanilang amazing performance? Once again, let children be children. Let children be children. Without further ado, may we call on here on stage the Youth Advisory Group.
Bayot ka. Uy, ano ba kayo? Ano bang ginagawa niyo sa kanila?
Ano bang masama sa pagiging bakla? Bakit ang dali niyong umusga sa mga tao base sa kanilang kasarian? Alam mo bang hindi tama yun? Alam niyo ba?
Sis! Wala kayong karapatan para husgahan sila.
Okay lang
Kaya tama na. Hayaan mo na sila kung saan sila magiging masaya.
Gather facts and write them down. What we saw and what went down. Clear and honest, straight and true. Share the story, me and
Salamat po.
You deserve to be heard, valued, and respected.
Report it right, let's make it clear, so the truth is what they hear. In our school or on the news, we share facts, not just our views. Let's report it right today, with our voices lead the way.
To every child out there, you are valid, you are loved, you belong, and you matter.
Let children be children, free from hate, discrimination, and judgment.
No discrimination. Let's stand up, speak up, educate others, and make a safer space for every child.
LGBTQ
Children
plus
community.
community children.
Thank you very much, Youth Advisory Group, for that very ecstatic performance there.
You know what, Jed? The Youth Advisory Group are very talented, di ba? There's singer, there's actresses and actors, and you know, like advocate na nga, talented ba, di ba?
Yes, actors pa, right?
Yes.
Okay, what an outstanding performance from the Youth Advisory Group. Talagang mararamdaman mo yung eagerness, yung message, at saka yung yung talagang, yung message talaga nila, or call to action. So, wala ba kayong mga kamay? Palakpakan
Well, thank you, Youth Advisory Group. So just for everyone knows, Youth Advisory Group is composed of youth individuals from different youth organizations from Cebu, from Bohol, and from Taguig City, where we are coming from. That's why you're actually part of the Youth Advisory Group, actually. And eventually, as we move forward on this presentation, may mga key points tayo na nakuha, especially on promoting yung mga gusto nating goals na ma-achieve, especially that TDH is working here in the Philippines. Ano yun? Una yung SEC na tinatawag natin, yung sexual exploitation of children. Pangalawa, yung worst forms of child labors, and also yung child trafficking. Ito yung mga bagay na gustong labanan ng TDH. That's why they are working here in the Philippines. At the same time that we are utilizing the power of the youth, not just as participants, but as co-workers in enabling this platform. This advocacy works towards achieving our vision of every children flourishing or free from all forms of discrimination. Right, ladies?
That is alright. At saka yung alam mo yung talagang nagustuhan ko sa kanila. Kasi yung very ng performance nila, talagang pinakita nila kung ano yung nararamdaman or yung real world experience talaga ng mga LGBTI children, and also at the same time yung mga babae talaga. Talagang na-captivate nila.
Also guys, very creative talaga yung ginawa nila kasi from a common melody, di ba? Alam naman natin kung saan talaga originally yung song. And then they made it like sila mismo, tayo mismo yung gumawa ng lyrics. And it's very nice kasi you can really comprehend what's in the message, di ba?
Well, Chloe, I cannot really wait for that. So ano ba yung hinihintay nating launching for today?
Alright, this is it. We are now launching the new study. And are you now ready about it?
Yes!
I can feel your energy, guys. Are you ready for it?
Yes!
Okay, but before we proceed to the exciting part, let me hear your scream. Let children
Be children!
Again,
Let children
Be children!
And of
Alright.
course, to officially launch the new study for this event, let us witness an amazing spoken poetry first from our youth advocates. May we call on once again from Youth Advisory Group.
A round of applause, please.
Pag-ibig tulad ng batis, tulad ng batis. Pag-ibig tulad ng batis, diwa ko. Pag-ibig tulad ng batis, tulad ng batis.
Rainbows hidden in the darkness, afraid to meet the light.
Bahaghari, bahaghari na nakatago sa kaliliman. Natatakot na salubungin ng araw.
Ang mga balangaw nagtago sa kangitid, nahadlok ng sugat sa kahayag.
I reach out, but hesitate, afraid to start a fight. afraid that your gentle flame that threatens to ignite. But I need your care. I need your warmth. Your love is the comfort through the roughest of storms. The air in my sails, the compass in my hand, for in your acceptance, I have the strength to thrive. And in your guidance, I navigate past the fear with my head held high.
Tayo, oo, tayo mga tagapagtaguyod ng pag-asa na nagpapataba ng kinabukasan sa paaralan at lipunan. Sama-sama tayong magsusulong ng isang santuaryo ng pagtanggap, pagkakaisa at paglago. Bilang mga kampyon ng karapatan, tumindig tayo ang magsilbing ilaw sa nakakarami.
Kabalumi asa mo dangog, pero puno og kahadlok among kasing-kasing. Ang among kangitngit dalang kahadlok, ang among kahilak dalang kasakit. Ug usahay ang hustisya buta sa among ilmon. Kami mga babae ag LGBTQI+, nangandoy nga madungog ug maampingan. Kamo ang tingog sa kauban, kamo ang nabarog para sa mga batang kanunay pahilumon. Panahon na aron himuong luwas ang tanan lunga ug dunggon ang tanang tingog.
Rainbows hidden in the darkness, afraid to meet the light.
Bahaghari na natakot sa kadiliman. Natatakot na salubungin ang liwanag.
Ang mga balaw nagtago sa kangitngit nahadlok nga sugaton ang kahayag.
So I need you to listen, to treat me all the same, to validate my feelings, to understand my pain. Because my voice matters. Each whisper, every refrain, children deserve to be children, without your judgment or disdain.
Itayo natin ang tulay ng pagmamahal, pagkakaisa at maghatid ng liwanag ng pag-asa para sa mga kabataan. Makiisa, makibahagi, oo, kasama yon. At sama-sama natin hubugin ang mundo para sa kinabukasan ng mga kabataan.
Hiwa kami luwas nga musulti, hiwa ang sistema nga muila, muatiman, umutabang. Padayon na ang kausbanan alang sa tanan, dili lang para sa pipilan.
Kaya, kumilos tayo, gawing ligtas ang mundo para sa bagong henerasyon.
Thank you, Youth Advisory Group, for that amazing performance. Grabe talaga nakakaiyak. Parang, dapat din sila naiyak na. Grabe talaga yung talagang mararamdaman mo na, it comes from their heart talaga. Kasi nakikita mo yung emotion na yung pagka-deliver nila, di ba?
Yes, and it is even translated to different languages, guys. It's in Tagalog, English, and even in Bisaya.
Yeah, and that promotes for me inclusivity, Kasi talaga, they really try their best to put the message in different language so that more and more people will be able to understand.
Kaya nga inclusivity, di ba?
Yes. Pero hindi ka parang kulang tayo ngayon dito sa stage, di ba? Nasaan si Jen? Nasaan si Jen?
Ayan,
There,
so,
yes.
dito lang ako, no? For us to witness more of it, no? Siyempre, nakita natin puro Youth Advisory Group, yung mga nagpo-perform kanina. I want to know some perspectives as well from their mentors. No?
Ayan.
From
Sino
their
kaya?
titas, from their ates. Kasi di ba we've mentioned about rainbows in the darkness, right? So what I want them to share with us is that what is your rainbow in your darkness in the current service that you do, especially in community advocating? As mentors, paano mo ginagamit itong pagiging rainbow na ito for you to be able to be successful in advocating your children? So, can I have from Cebu, Ate Yani? Can you give a round of applause to Ate Yani, right? Okay, Ate Yani, what is your rainbows in life that allows you to escape from darkness? And how did you use that rainbow to guide, I would say, that children from Cebu?
Sige, so hello, good morning everyone. Of course, one of one of the siguro probably rainbows that I really
but with my the children that I am with right now is to be just be themselves, of course, and I want them to what you call this? I also want to be there for their goals and dreams, not as the main focus, but of course just to be there, guys. So yeah, that's all.
Once again, palakpakan naman natin si Ate Yani. Thank you so much, Ate Yani. Ate Yani was one of our great mentor from Cebu City, right?
Yes. So sabay-sabay guys, let's say thank you Ate Yani.
Thank you, Ate Yani.
Okay, patay yung audience. Patay yung audience. From everyone, thank you, Ate Yani.
Thank you, Ate Yani.
Okay, parang naging kinder na tayo dito, no? Okay, everyone, let's give a round of applause to our new study, Rainbows in the Dark. To discuss it further, may I call here on stage the country director of Feathersdome, Netherlands, Miss Joanna Marie Abelinde.
Let's give her a round of applause.
Tayo magsaya, tayo magsaya, tayo magsaya, tumalamba.
Hello! Magandang umaga, good morning. Sana hindi maging anti-climax itong presentation ko sa inyo ngayon. But I really wanted for us to discuss kung ano yung pinaglalaban ba natin dito. Ano ba yung gustong ilaman ng study natin. I think, isa sa mga unang kailangan natin pag-usapan. Bakit natin kailangan gawin to? I mean, there have been hundreds or dozens or hundreds of interventions on OSAE. Pero marami sa kanila very prescriptive in nature, very general. And alam natin na marami, when we think of a child, when we think of a stereotypical child, we don't think yung mga bata na usually ay nasa laylayan o hindi representative ng maraming typical na bata na dito, di ba? And importante kasi na makita natin yung perspective nila. Kasi kung hindi natin sila makikita, hindi sila mapapabilang sa serbisyo. Kung hindi sila mapapabilang sa serbisyo, mananatili yung numbers at mananatili yung problem. So I think this is a discussion of the findings of the study, and please feel free to ask questions after the presentation. Next slide, please. Okay, so yun na yun. So the title of the study is Rainbows in the Dark. Objectives, ano ba yung, bakit ba namin ginagawa ito? We wanted to assess the awareness, experience, and perception of OSAIC among children. Lalo-lalo na sa mga batang babae at sa mga LGBTQIA children. Sila yung mas pinaka-vulnerable on OSAIC. Pero hindi nabibilang yung boses nila dun sa maraming interventions that have started by the government and started by a lot of sectors. We also wanted to understand gender and so GSE-based vulnerability. So yung mga nag-attend ng orientation, alam natin kung ano ibig sabihin ng SOGS? We're familiar? Can I get a louder yes?
Yes!
Okay, sige. So, we all understand what SOGSE means. We also wanted to evaluate current child protection services and mechanisms. Kumbaga, hindi lang ito nanggagaling sa perspektibo ng mga bata. Titingnan din natin ano yung available na serbisyo na pwedeng pangtapat. At responsive ba sila sa mga unique at general na pangailangan ng mga batang Pilipinas. And of course, we wanted to identify promising community practices. What things work? Ano yung opportunities na pwede natin further scale up? Ano yung opportunities na pwede natin mas improve? Interventions na mas pwede natin. Next slide. Okay, one of the major findings in the study is that children know but they don't report. So, a lot of us assume that children don't report because they don't know that one, OSAIC is innately a bad thing, and second, because they don't know where to seek help. The study shows us na alam pala ng mga bata. 90% of children know about protective services. Pero dun sa mga nakakaalam, only 33% have access to them. Bakit? May bridge, may gap dun sa knowledge, tsaka dun sa actual practice. And
karamihan sa mga barriers na nakikita natin ay yung fear of blame, yung ikaw na nga yung biktima, ikaw pa yung nasisi, shame, nahihiya ka, being outed. So if you're an LGBTQIA youth and you're not yet ready to be out, natatakot ka rin na ma-out ka dahil magsasabi ka ng circumstances mo. And of course, yung general distrust of adults. Syempre, kung ang perpetrator mo ay adult, meron kang general distrust sa mga dun sa age range na yan. And we also found out that I think hindi lang to unique to LGBTQIA youth, but also with children with young people of our age. We confide to our peers. We feel comfortable in telling our friends rather than, I guess, to parents or rather than other people, di ba? Next slide. So, nakita rin natin na yung girls and LGBTQI children, they are at a higher risk. So, yung girls, they are more targeted for grooming and coercion, often by people who know them, people they trust. Kaya rin nahihirapang magsumbong kasi people na pinagkakatiwalaan mo minsan, yun pa yung nagko-commit ng abuse, yun pa yung nagko-commit ng exploitation. And also, a lot of LGBTQIA children, bilang minsan hindi sila out sa kanilang pamilya, hindi sila out sa kanilang mga immediate, sa kanilang komunidad o sa kanilang mga kaibigan, minsan, they wanted to seek validation online. It offers opportunities kasi nagiging ikaw ka online. Pero at the same time, it presents risk. So, you wanted validation, pero at the same time, maraming entities out there na gustong mag-capitalize dun sa dun sa journey mo for validation. And also, a vast majority of trans or non-binary youth, they don't feel safe asking for help. Sabi dun sa survey, 45%, only 45% of trans or non-binary youth feel safe asking for help. Next slide. Yung online abuse, it affects mental health and education. Nakaka-affect ito sa pag-aaral. A lot of things. Things when you bottle it up and you don't feel safe discussing about it, it affects you. So, for yung common effects niya across children in all their diversity, depression, they experience anxiety, they experience shame, they experience isolation. Kasi pakiramdam nila, nag-iisa sila dun sa battle, wala silang ka-share. For girls, merong risk ng dropouts if they get into early pregnancy. Remember fluid ang online and offline exploitation. Sometimes the transactions happen online and it's consummated offline. So may mga ganong nangyayari. So there's always a risk of early pregnancy. Dahil maagang nabubuntis, alam natin na pag yung bata maaga siyang nabubuntis, mas malaki yung risk niya sa miscarriage. Yung risk ng complications ng pregnancies ay mas malaki din. For boys, dahil pinalaki yung mga batang lalaki na hindi kumukuha ng support, dahil pinalaki yung mga batang lalaki na hindi ka dapat umiyak at nagsasabi, they resort to risk-taking behaviors, sometimes substance abuse, alcohol abuse, and also other forms of parang destructive behavior. Next. So, kung makikita nyo, iba-iba yung coping capacity do. So, iba-iba rin according to gender. Hindi ito malinaw na division. Kasi pwede rin naman, for example, boys also feel blame. Girls can also be pressured to hide their emotions, especially pag panganay ka, di ba? Panganay na babae, so you're expected to be strong for the family. So hindi, merong specific na gender barrier, pero at the same time, fluid ito. Yun yung gusto kong sabihin. So girls, oftentimes they experience shame, let's say na, pregnancy, being blamed, at yung mga batang lalaki, they hide their emotions because of masculinity norms. So they're, para kasing di ba, when growing up, yung mga batang lalaki, they feel Kasi pagsasabihan sila ng mga matatanda na, o ba't kung iyak, bakla ka ba? And sometimes yung term na bakla, hindi dapat siya derogatory, pero the way people say it, and the way it's placed in certain context, meron kang nai-internalize na, is it really a bad thing to be bakla? Kasi ganun siya piniframe. So, importante yung language. And also, yung LGBTQI children. We said na kung hindi ka pa ready to out yourself, and it's really up to you kung kailan mo gusto mag-out. But if you're experiencing exploitation, you're also putting yourself in a very sensitive position of outing yourself kapag nagsumbong ka. You're also feeling invalidated na parang kaugnay na ng identity mo yung experience. So therefore, baka masama pala yung identity mo kasi kaugnay yun yung karanasan mo. It shouldn't be the case, pero ganun siya nakikita. Yung fear din na being harmed by the response. Next. Okay, so just to summarize yan, so pag clear nyo, ito yung dinidiscuss natin kanina ng key vulnerabilities. Paano nagko-cope? So pag tinignan nyo yung mga girls, they avoid certain platforms. So flight, alis na lang. And then also they seek help from friends, or they also keep their silence at home. Usually, di ba, pag ito, common naman when girls get pregnant at an early age, yung galit ng magulang, ang unang reaction ng parent is to be mad at their daughter, their child. So, instead na, dahil dun sa takot na yun, dahil sa makambang takot na yun, hindi na sila nagsasalita. And also, for boys, so yung coping mechanism nila, peer support, which can also be a coping mechanism for girls, and also denial or dismissal ng experience na parang, yan lang naman, okay lang yan, lalaki ako, kaya ko yan, malakas ako. So, instead na lang process, nadi-deny yung experience, nadi-deny yung opportunity na i-process yun. And also for LGBTQIA, no? So, nagpo-foster yung online connection kasi online nakakakita ng validation. And also, may tendency din na mag-self-isolate. Ano siya? Halos fluid siya in a sense. So, yung barriers to service, nasabi ko na rin kanina, so yun yung mga karaniwang humaharang. Bakit ayaw mag-seek out ng support ng girls, boys, LGBTQIA plus children? So imagine, if meron pang isang layer ng vulnerability, paano ko pa makakapag-seek ng support? Imagine for girls with disability. Imagine for LGBTQIA children with disability. Kung nararanasan ito, so mas maraming barrier, mas maraming challenges, mas mahirap mag-seek ng support. Next slide. So, nakita na natin yung sa side ng mga bata. Tingnan naman natin yung side ng government or systems that should protect children. So, pagkita natin siguro, only the communities that we work with, doon lang medyo may mataas na level of awareness and involvement ng Local Council for the Protection of Children at Barangay Council for the Protection of Children. Very weak. Tapos walang OSAID action plans. So tingnan nyo, yung OSAID, it evolves. So before, pinag-uusapan lang natin Facebook and Twitter nung panahon ko. Facebook and Twitter, X na siya ngayon. Pumasok ang TikTok, pumasok ang Telegram. So, yung government, yung system, mabagal siya to keep up. So siguro hanggang ngayon, ang tinitingnan pa rin, hindi ko naman sinasabi, pero may kasi na ang tinitingnan pa rin ng government is yung traditional platforms of exploitation. Hindi siya nakakasabay. Isa sa mga studies that I've read in the past is that yung mga bata, isa sa mga responsible adults na nilalapitan ng bata ay teacher niya. More than parents. They seek the help of their teachers pag nasa school sila. Pero, sa school, wala namang gender-responsive reporting mechanism. So si teacher, hindi niya rin alam how will she handle or how will they handle the report. Kasi they don't know, they don't have training, they don't have yung reporting mechanism or yung child protection protocols in school, they're very general. They're not, parang hindi siya naka-calibrate according to what's needed. And of course, yung services, they're not disaggregated by gender or SOGS. So for example, if you need SRHR services, sa community, hindi siya ganun ka-accessible for LGBTQIA children. Even not children, even for LGBTQIA people in general, hindi siya ganun ka-accessible kasi they're always framed with the binary concept ni Marie. Ano yung ba ang kailangan ng babae, ng lalaki? So, yung framers ng ating services, hindi siya nakaakma dun sa unique na personalities na kasama dun sa, na vulnerable dun sa mga pangyayari. Next. So, coping and protection strategies ng mga bata. So, 66% sabi nila they just avoid strangers online, which is a first good step, but 66%. And 100% of LGBTQIA youth avoid chatting with unknown users. I think because mataas ang awareness among children and young people about the dangers of online engagement. There's also, merong flag na nagre-raise sa'yo, di ba? If a stranger suddenly, out of nowhere, ay mag-message sa'yo. So, it's good. It's a good indication na merong self-protective behavior yung mga bata. And as mentioned, 80% know where to access services, but only 33% actually do so. Next. So what's working in the community? So ano ba yung mga meron sa community? Ano ba yung opportunities na pwede natin makuha? Kasi parang ang hirap ng problema ng kasari. So makita natin yung mga gender and development focal persons and forum leaders, they're engaged. So sa mga barangay natin, pag lumapit tayo sa forum leader and we said, there's a problem, more or less, alam nila yung pinag-uusapan. Hopefully, hindi nila i-dismiss. Alam nila yung gagawin. And in the communities that we work with, mataas ang level ng peer education and school-based safety efforts. We hope that it transcends sa iba pang areas kung saan mataas yung reporting cases ng exploitation and trafficking. What's working also is that kalakit kasi ng OSE, yung economic side. So some children and young people, they engage to OSE kasi this is for them money, easy money. Makakikita sila ng mas malaking pera, I guess that yung traditional na paraan ng employment. So, hindi mo sila pwedeng tanggalin doon if you also remove their livelihood. Mahirap yun for them, especially if they rely on that livelihood. So, we know that scholarships and livelihood programs for LGBTQIA+ youth work kasi binibigyan mo sila ng alternative. Next. For adults, yung awareness level, nakita natin na di ba, na among children and young people, mataas siya. It seems that among adults, they also know. So, hindi problema yung knowledge. So, 92% of adults see internet risks linked to assault. And 81% are aware of prevention strategies. 75% of adults supervise internet use. And 70% would report abuse. Ibig sabihin, mataas yung percentage ng mga responsible adults na pag napagsumbungan sila, they will seek help. So yung problem is, how do you get children to report to a trusted adult? Next. Next, please. So, balik tayo, no, yung issues and gaps that were identified. So number 1, stigma prevents girls and LGBTQIA children, prevents them from reporting OSAE. Yung fear na you'll be branded, yung fear na you'll be blamed sa pagsumbong mo sa things that affect you, it's one of the main barriers. Tapos, we also found out that LGBTQI children, they face unique online exploitation risks. Kasi may hindi necessarily present among girl victims and boy victims. And also, high awareness, low reporting of assault cases. We also know that there's limited gender-sensitive child protection services, and poverty as a primary driver of OSAE. Next. Sabi din natin, at nasabi ko na kanina, na mahina yung implementation ng local policies on OSAE. And LGBTQI youth experience higher rates of online harassment. Sabi din natin, May mga communities na normalize na OSAIC sa mga komunidad nila. Normalized behavior. Wala nang masama, hindi na nakikitaan ng wrong. And then, child protection committees, whether it's barangay or local, they're non-functional. And LGBTQI children are less likely to seek help. Isip pa ba kayo? Yes. Okay, next. Malapit na ako matapos. Next. Yun na ba yun? Okay. Okay, sige. Medyo repetitive na to, pero mahina yung kapasidad ng mga service providers to address OSAIC. Hindi siya nakakasabay dun sa bilis ng OSAIC cases. We also say that yung education and digital literacy alone, they do not address gender risk. Kasi mataas yung knowledge. And also, there's also weak monitoring and data collection on OSAIC cases. Sometimes they are lumped together with other abuse cases. So parang pag ikaw, anong problema kung nakalump siya sa ibang abuse cases? Yung intervention mo, yung support na ibibigay mo, hindi siya nakakalibrate dun sa problema. So magbibigay ka ng very generic na intervention. Wala rin safe spaces for LGBTQI youth in protection services. Sometimes pupunta ka to report and you're forced to report in front of other people. Sometimes, even if there's room, hindi naman siya soundproof enough and other people know. So paglabas mo, nag-report ka, and when yung mga personnel, they don't understand what's really going on, malalaman mo na yung kwento mo ay naging kwento na ng kalahatan. So walang safe space. And also, yun nga, kailangan ng mas mataas na technical assistance for OSAIC prevention. Ironically, it always comes from the civil society. Pero malaki din yung role na gagampanan ng mga kabataan. So pag-educate, baliktad din, no? Tayo yung nag-educate dun sa system that should be protecting us. Next. So, sabi rin dito, peer influence ay malaking factor ng OSAIC risk. Minsan, you get to engage in risky behavior kasi nakita mo na ginagawa siya ng friend mo and your friend looks safe, so I guess it's safe. So, mga ganun, di ba? Girls and LGBTQI children also face higher risk, but they also receive less support. Sila yung mas vulnerable, pero mas konti yung natatanggap nilang suporta kasi yung services, it's not framed according to their needs. And because of that, yung mataas yung mental health impact sa mga victims ng OSAIC o yung mga actress sa OSAIC, but they are overlooked. So they're dismissed. So parang, ayan lang pala eh. As long as no touch, di ba? Yun yung isa sa mga nakita namin sa mga pag-aaral before. The people think it's safe kasi wala namang touching na involved. Minsan ganon. So parang, when you try to say that you're offended, sasabihan ka napaka-OA mo, or, di ba? And of course, so therefore, digital access and parental supervision, it plays a key role. It plays a key role in, so when it's safe, when a child feels safe to open up to their parents, mas maagang na-address yung problema. It's the same for everything, di ba? It's the same, for young people, if you have a problem with your friend, and you can talk to your parent about it, it's good, di ba? Kasi nabibigyan ka ng advice, nabibigyan ka ng tamang direction. It's the same for almost all challenge. Lalo na dito sa mas sensitive na issue like OSAIC. And guard mechanisms, gender and development. Hindi naman siya talaga gender and development. Pag lagi siyang women and development. Kasi of course, there's higher vulnerability among women, pero at the same time, hindi nakikita yung pangailangan ng mga LGBTQI children. Kasi nakasentro ka sa women. So ang importante sa usapin ng gender is about balancing opportunities regardless of the identity that we have. So, minsan hindi nagiging sensitive sa ganon yung mga existing interventions. Next. Okay. So, pagkatapos ng marami kong sinabi na, sige, paano na? O ano ngayon? So, parang, kayo, ano ngayon? We wanted to show na yung knowledge, so pag tingnan nyo dito, so gusto ko siyang i-frame kasi ang dami mong sinabi, di ba? Pero parang kalat-kalat siya. I wanted it to frame para makita and ma-understand din natin. So, yung knowledge of risks, hindi siya agad tatalon sa self-regulation or hindi siya agad ma-address. It goes through a certain process. So, pag alam ko yung risk, where am I leading myself to? That's one step. You're aware of risk. Pero yung susunod na tanong mo, okay, alam ko, what good things and bad things may happen? How do I feel about it? If I report, what will happen? How do I feel about it if I get exposed? Number one, a barrier yun, di ba? So parang nandito ka pa lang, hindi ka pa gumagawa ng susunod na step, ano ka na agad? Nag-step back ka agad. And if you feel that it's safe to report, if you feel safe about reporting, ang susunod na tatanong mo sa sarili mo, will others accept it? Magiging ako pa ba ako after I report this? Remember, for victims of abuses, sometimes they're forced to repeat their stories over and over again. And sometimes, ano yun minsan, you're defined by the experience, hindi na ng sarili mo. So that's also another step. Yun yung sinasabi ko. And if you feel that you're accepted, and if you feel safe, and you will still be you, yung susunod na tanong mo ay, confident ba ako to take the first step? Gonna take the lead. So bago ka, yung ability mo to report, or yung ability mo to address the challenge, that's also another thing na ahakdaan mo. And then, pag nasagot mo yan, doon ka palang papasok sa, okay, paano ko ito gagawin? So parang, mali yung assumption na dahil alam mo, nilipat ka na dito, hindi. Marami ka bang question, pinagdadaanan, di ba? And also, it's not to put everything dun sa inyo bilang kabataan. Kasi hindi nyo naman, of course, meron kayong agency to claim and to decide for yourself, but at the same time, there should be an enabling environment for you. So doon natin yun tinitignan. We think na yung interventions that support this should also be framed this way. So kung paano pinoprocess ng mga kabataan yung experience, information, paano magbibigay ng kaalaman, persuasion, paano masasabi sa mga bata that it's okay to report, norm enhancing, paano mag-create ng environment when yung batang nag-report will be accepted and will be that same person, enabling, and also, and then after that, doon ka palang tatalon sa planning. What are we going to do with it? What are the concrete steps to do it? So, yung spectrum na to, it also para siyang spectrum, di ba? So it also, yung informal systems, yung informal, so peer support, parents, communities, will be supportive. Pero, hindi rin siya matutugunan kung yung formal systems mo meaning government, yung policy environment, ay hindi rin nag-agree. So makikita nyo, kaya sa usapin ng exploitation and abuse, ang daming actors na involved. So, minsan, may batas, pero batas lang yan. Batas lang yan in the sense that you're not stigmatized by the community. Minsan, mas mataas pa yung role ng informal. So, importante na nagsasabay yung informal and formal mechanisms in addressing the challenge. So, pag makita nyo, tatawid siya from peer support groups, community-based protection mechanisms, to duty bearers, to policy. Only then, kapag siya ay responsive na dito sa mga ito at natutugunan itong mga ito, only then can we say that, we can report safely and we can feel safe and we can address these challenges. So yun, baka may question? I think, baka may question? Question insights? Bababa ko, hindi ko kayo maakitin. You have insights? Sure.
Do we know the reason as to why the government hasn't updated their asylum policy? If it's such a prevalent issue, why aren't they addressing it?
There's a part that's There's a part that's it's bureaucracy. There's a part that in general, the government is not a very agile system. So, minsan, ang bagal mag-respond with what's happening. Sometimes it's also not a priority. Of course, we know the Philippines as a middle income country, it has a lot of challenges. The government has very limited resources to prioritize. So, may mga ganun factors. Pero kaya nga sometimes it's up to us to highlight na, hey, importante to, pansinin nyo. And sometimes before that gets even noticed, ang tagal-tagal. So, ano siya I think sakit siya nung sobrang malalaki ang bureaucratic na organizations. Pero at the same time, it's also good that the government recognizes it. I mean, there's a recognition at malaki yung support na nakukuha natin from duty bearers. We hope that, medyo fast enough so we can parang makasabay natin. So yun naman yung ina-envision natin We wanted everything for things to work together. Hindi siya dahil ayaw. Hindi siya dahil ayaw ng gobyerno. It's just that there are so many problems that are also happening right now. So, medyo we distribute the load and also we help one another. Other questions? Kung wala na, thank you.
Okay. Alright, thank you very much, Miss Joanne, for sharing and enlightening us about the challenges and the experiences of children, especially the girls and LGBTQI. And also we tackled about the boys. And as you all know, as what Miss Joanne shared, these groups has different vulnerabilities. They also have different barriers in terms of helping. And I'm really glad that there are services and also programs that are already working in our society.
That's right, Chloe. Kasi we have identified different issues, different gaps in terms of identifying the underlying causes of why these exploitation is still happening, not just in our communities, but at the same time in the entire country of the Philippines. Ikaw, Maniko, what's your perspective about it?
Actually, ang more gusto ko talagang ma-point out is yung the way ng study talaga. Yung mga data na pre-provide, talagang nakakagulot yung mga data na talagang nalaman natin na ang dami may alam kung saan magre-report. But there are only few children or few people who are at risk that actually have the courage to report it. Parang, it should be, in our call to action talaga, na talagang kailangan natin na yun nga, kailangan natin ma-solidify lalo yung advocacy natin for them to make the children less na ma-insecure sila kung ano yung mangyayari na magiging result ng pagsumbong nila talaga. Kasi I think yun yung sinabi ni Miss Joanne kanina with regards to her to the study, Kasi parang it's very talagang fruitful and talagang yung data is very reliable talaga.
That's right, Nika. And I hope the participants and also the guests here are really listening because these are not just numbers, these are real lives, diba?
So, nakinig ba tayo kanina from our country director? Isang malakas na yes nga? Yes! At dahil nakinig sila,
Magtatanong tayo!
yes, we are going to roll around and choose from our participants to at least share their perspective or insights about the discussed findings and the results and discussions from our country director earlier. So, ladies, please go on and find someone to at least help us share their thoughts and sentiments. So whenever you had the chance to speak, please state us your name and where you're from, maybe an organization or orientation or something, if you're representing one, and then your insights. Let's start with Chloe.
Okay, we have here, what's your name?
Good morning, everyone. I am Ella Angela Pedrera Serna from ACPAT Youth Children Advocates from Bohol. So, one thing that really captures my attention from the discussed study was the misconceptions, no? Because kanang who would have thought na marami palang batang may alam na sa where to report abuses. Ngunit, yun nga, the stigma is still there. The discrimination, the harassment, or the possible na shaming na makukuha nila from adults kapag nagsumbong sila. So, yun yung isa sa mga factors. So, as an advocate, yun yung core ko talaga na mabigyan ng outlet yung mga bata to share their expressions. Kasi sometimes, doon natin nami-miss. Kasi, as an advocate, my journey was, we try to provide only. So, maybe we have lacked on focusing on makinig sa kanila kasi sinishare lang kami palagi. So, I was happy that I have known that and I will take that on my next step. Thank you.
Okay, grabe naman yung sagot ng Miss Universe, no?
Yes. And I hope you continue advocating for children, di ba?
Yes. Okay, dito naman po sa table na to. Kuya, what's your name po? Okay, Kuya Michael, Jen, can you repeat the question?
Well, it's not a question so far. It's more of like, what's your insight or what is your takeaways from the discussion that at least could bring you enlightenment from the movement you're currently doing?
Yung insights ko po, yung parang same lang sa kanya na meron tayong mga, yung lalo sa mga batang lalaki. Kasi, tulad nga po nung sabi ni ate kanina na kapag umiyak yung batang lalaki, bakla naman siya agad. So, sana po matigil na natin yon para mas maraming kabataang lalaki yung mas kayang i-express yung sarili tsaka yung mga natakbo sa utak nila.
Thank you so much po, Kuya. Grabe yung mga insights. How about you, Jen?
Maybe we could ask one again from our mentors here. So, maybe we could ask Ma'am. Okay, Tita Vida, what's your insights about the key findings from earlier? How can you share, or maybe you could align that to your personal experiences, and as a youth advocate, or maybe like someone who really fights for this cause or cause?
Sige. Siguro yung I like the part of the research na nakita natin, naging visible kasi bigla ko ano yung kinakaharap na problema ng mga LGBTQI community. Kasi medyo distinct din, no, yung magiging problema nila. Specifically dahil alam natin na there's a lack of acceptance in our society sa, you know, yung paano sila nagsisik ng siguro emotional, psychological, and sexual, connection sa kapwa nila. So I think yung Pasae kasi provides a very clandestine, very secretive na klase. So if you're not accepted, doon ka pupunta. Diba? Alam natin yan. So I think sana, siguro kasi I think yung parang yung to make the society more aware dun sa situation nila is something that we can control. No? Kaya natin gawin yan eh. May mga bagay kasi na hindi natin kayang masyadong control. Pero yan, kaya natin yan. Magaling, ang NGO community naniniwala ko, sobrang galing natin sa awareness raising. So, yung ating alas, doon natin itaya. Yun yung isa. Kasi prevention. No? Prevention. Yung second siguro na insight ko, I couldn't agree more with kay Ana, na kasi yung experience, and I think baka mag-agree din yung iba sa atin dito, yung experience natin sa social protection package, kahit na alam natin that there are mechanisms in government, it's really easy said than done. Alam natin dun sa mga kasama ko sa Bidlisio, sa ECPAT, na kahit na andyan yung mekanismo, how we sustain yung support sa victims is very hard. Kasi hindi naman yan isang taon lang, tama ma'am. Hindi lang 2 taon, 3 taon. Hindi natin alam kung kailan sila makaka-recover. And the system, I couldn't agree more that the system is not ready to provide long-term support to the victims. So I think it's a challenge for government, lalo na where budget is concerned. Kasi we need more staff, I think we need more people to provide that long-term support. Sorry, ang haba, na parang nag-lecture ng long-term. Sorry, masyado akong na carry away dun sa, ang ganda ng research, and I think marami pa tayong madidiscover.
Thank you so much, Paul. Anyway, I couldn't agree more with that sentiment that NGO is really powerful. Now, in terms of not just for providing some mechanism, but at the same time utilizing that tool to prevent child trafficking. Maybe from the media, we could ask from the media from their insights. As a media itself, how do you think the media stands in this kinds of key results or discussions? So, anyone from this table? Okay, sir. Yeah. Sir RR. Okay. Sir,
Hindi pa daw siya out. Hindi pa siya out na.
Introduce first your name and then your organization or like what media and then your insights.
Ano take away?
Ron from First RN Manila Times. Siguro ngayon nga, important na siguro i-encourage din yung mga kids na parang to voice out their opinions, and kung meron sila huwag sila matatakot. Parang siguro kailangan natin siguro parang i-spread pa yung awareness na parang yung mga matatanda nandyan para guide them, hindi yung i-judge kagad sila. So siguro, saka yung adults din, siguro kailangan din ng education kasi nga parang ngayon yung mga ginajudge lagi, yung mga parang bata pa lang, parang pakalalaki ka, parang ganyan, yung sinasubject ko iba sa palo or ganyan, diba ganyan.
Yes.
Okay, from Underbo, here's the mic.
Hello, my name is Rana. I'm the rep of my blogger friend, Mamina Rizal, ManilaSociety.com. So, I just wonder kasi, di ba, the latest news right now, majority of HIV positive people are from the ages of 15 to 24, right? Which are you guys, the age bracket. So my question is with TDH and L, and maybe from sa inyo, anong feeling niyo ng mga bata ngayon na, oh my God, nakakatakot kasi ito pala yung age bracket na karamihan may HIV. How do you make yourself aware of that, and what do you do? Like, safe sex or whatever, or are you guys practicing or at least aware of what to do, and your parents and your schools, paano sila nag-adjust sa ganitong sitwasyon or para ma-lesson for you guys?
Yung question po ba is mainly for the youth po?
Niga, we have some plans.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Adrian Rivera from Plan International Pilipinas, from Dasmariñas, Cavite. So, sasagutin ko lang po yung tanong ni Ma'am, no? Napakagandang tanong na, lalong-lalo na, nakikita natin na, and also our city is one of the vulnerable, sa HIV. And kahapon nga lang po, I want to share na, nakakapatest ko lang po sa social hygiene clinic sa Dasmariñas din. Napakagandang tanong po na kung paano nga kami, parang nag-response sa ganong balita. So una, nakikita natin kung ano ba yung mga circumstances or yung ano nga ba yung mga possible ano ba yung mga symptoms nito. Symptoms and ano nga ba yung possible na mangyari once na magkaroon ka nito. So first And as a yun na nakikita natin yung age bracket na possible na tayo pala nagiging vulnerable sa ganitong issue, no? So, naisip ko, no, what if magpatest ako, no? Para malaman ko parang malaman ko yung healthy, health or ano ba yung status ko sa. So, ano pa rin first, natakot ako yung nararamdaman ko. So, also, kahit na alam ko yung gagawin ko, ano pa rin talaga yung matatakot ka eh. Ano pa rin yung matatakot, ano yung possible na kung yung result nun, kung mag-positive ka. So, ayun, that's the one. So, second po, no, nakikita rin po natin yung kung paano nagre-response yung mga kabataan, and di pa rin nawawala yung stigma, yung stereotype na pag nag-positive ako sa sakit na to, alam ko magdidirian ako. Kaya dapat itong forum na to, no, napakaganda na mas malaman natin kung paano natin maproteksyonan. Kasi as the youth, no, we are the mandated to create a better generation for next generation. Maraming salamat po.
Grabe naman yung ending point niya, talagang parang prepared and very well constructed, no? And very fruitful po nung naging answer, and at the same time yung question po ni ma'am, okay? Thank you so much everyone to those who answered and shared their insights. Now that we know how vulnerable the girls and the LGBTI children are to sexual exploitation, we want to expand our understanding and dig a little deeper into these topics. Pero paano nga ba, partners?
You're right, Nika. Now we are jumping into our panel session. Our